Good evening from Sacred Space at Titania's Realm. Welcome. It's the 21st of May 2025 and the time here in Brisbane, Australia is currently 5:29 p.m. I haven't stopped all day, so I'm fairly exhausted. Actually, I haven't stopped for about 5 or 6 days. I can't remember when this bout of creativity began. It's been intense. It's been amazing. It's been powerful. Today I worked on 9-carat gold embellishments for my cuff that I finished yesterday. Well, it's not finished. I'm going to solder on the little embellishments and set the stone. Probably do that sometime tomorrow or Friday. But anyway, today was quite a learning journey actually. I rather stupidly got the stupid idea of melting the 9-carat blob of gold I had, which was a piece about that big, that I melted scrap jewellery that I had that was odd earrings or some antique cufflinks I bought cheap in a second-hand shop and didn't know what to do with, so I melted it all down. And wasn't a lot of gold, but there was enough to make some lovely embellishments today. And don't know what that is, why I'm getting these updates. Anyway, so I melted the gold on my charcoal block stupidly. Pretty much wrecked my charcoal block. Well, I need a new one anyway, but they're not cheap. They're about $80. Oh, small spoiler. Anyway, and I ended up with these. I only had one small blob of gold, about the size of maybe 2 20-cent pieces, you know, and not even that. Anyway, I'm not sure what it weighed, but rose gold, and I ended up with 5 pieces, and I thought, where'd all this extra gold bullion come from? Didn't have that much bloody gold. Well, there were globs of borax that had formed, and I thought that I was melting gold. I had gold fever. I was like, it's multiplying like gremlins, and I thought to myself, I'm sure gold doesn't multiply like gremlins, unless the fairy have blessed me. No, it was definitely not gold. It was just ended up with 5 balls of weird looking things, and then I didn't know what to do because I thought the gold must be in there somewhere. I definitely did melt some gold. So I got a hammer and I smashed open the globules, and some actually had bits of gold in them and some had none. But I got enough gold back that I think I retrieved some of the gold that I started off with. I lost some of it. I'm pretty sure it got lost in that feckin' charcoal block. Anyway, but I got enough. I made 5 butterflies. And then I was sawing them down, sawing them out of the gold that I'd made in the shop plate, smashed the gold, formed the butterflies up. So I sawed them out assiduously, ready to solder on my cuff. It's going to look really quite lovely, I think, when I've finished it. I hope so, after all my effort. I resolved the issue. I had a little bit of scrap gold left from sawing out the butterflies and a piece I'd missed. So I then seasoned a crucible, which is not that hard to do, but it took a while to season. I used my rosebud on my Smith little torch and cranked the heat up, and but it took a while. That took a long time. Mind you, I have my little birds. I sit them out in the garden while I'm working on this because I don't want them to have fumes. So they were out most of the day from about 10:30 till 3. But I think they're getting used to being out. They don't speak in words, but they seem to quite like it. But the big boy Kermie's happy to come inside in the afternoon because he doesn't like being in a smaller cage. But it's only temporary while I'm working on things. And just got a message from their previous owner just now. Anyway, they're settling in all very well. And everyone's happy. So, anyway, what was I saying? Yes, so I seasoned the crucible, and then I melted the little scraps that I had left over with, in the crucible, and then I just chucked it into a big glass jar of cold water, and yes, what was I saying? Yeah, so then with those two pieces that I managed to retrieve from the scraps, I made 2 more butterflies. So I've got 5 butterflies, 3 that I've folded down. There'll be a little bit more scrap gold left after I saw off the 2 little butterflies remaining. Might be just enough for 1 more butterfly. We'll see. If not, we'll just go towards the next time I have scraps of gold. Could take another 10-15 years, but hey, meh. Or turn it into a little ball to add to something, or I'll figure it out, people of Earth. But I've got 5 butterflies out of that. I'd bring them in and show you, but the birds are, I've put them to bed and I've already disturbed them once. I don't want to disturb them again. They need their proper birdie num rest. Mama T needs Mama T rest. It's not going to happen though. It's kind of driven like a wildebeest at the moment. I'm overcompensating for well, you know, the usual things I compensate for that I can't have. So I'm not bothered actually. I'm just keeping myself very busy. So I thought while I'm still feeling enough energised and motivated to carry on, that I would continue reading Man with the Magic. So we've read up to Aberdeen Witches, and we're now up to Abominable Snowman. My nose is very itchy today. A bit of urgent, I think coming down with a cold. I think it's just an allergy. Oh, the other thing that I did while I was working on my little scraps of gold was I didn't make it. I have a machine that makes it. But I distilled water because I was running out of distilled water for my pickle and, you know, it's all for the silversmithing. So I got that going and I made about 4 litres of distilled water and very happy about that, and decanted it into the bottles. And so I've had who's that? Nobody will know about that. I've had a very, very, very productive day. I would have liked to have soldered the little embellishments on today, but I'm tired now, and it can be on tomorrow's agenda. But that bracelet's going to be awesome, and I'm going to be so proud of myself. And knowing that I've got real little gold embellishments that were made out of scraps that I could have sold the gold if I was desperate for money. There was one time I thought I could do with a bit of money, maybe sell it, and something said, "Don't you bloody dare, that was literally gold gifted to you from the universe." I walked into a second-hand shop in early January 2021, and they were practically forced on me by the shopkeeper there. And I said, "What do I need 9-carat gold cufflinks for? I'm not a man, I don't wear shirts." She said, you'll find a way to put them to good use," or some words along that way. "You'll figure out what to do with them. And while you're at it, buy this fork," she said. I said, "What for?" She says, "I see you've got your charm necklace, you're very creative and you know how to make jewellery." She said, "Make flatware and learn how to make flatware. Here's your fork." So that lady was an answer to a prayer I'd put out only a few days earlier, asking the multiverse to help me find a way to make money. Now, I haven't made any money from this trade, as it were. I failed at the markets miserably, and every time I went there it was a disaster. The stuff didn't sell in a witchy shop where I put my stuff there either. And I got very despondent last year when I realised nothing was selling. But then I thought, it doesn't matter. I make them for my pleasure, and it's my sort of apprenticeship in a way, learning how to do things. Like today I learned from my own stupidity, don't melt gold in a charcoal ball. Maybe it's okay if you're just going to do little tiny little balls for embellishments, but not for things like that size. And so, you know, things you learn by experience or by practice. And anyway, it's not like I have that likely to get any more gold or have that much gold to work with. So I kind of had fun today learning how it melted and what it looks like when it's molten, and it's a good little learning experience. And I might not have a loving partner, but I'm kind of happy as a pig in mud doing my own thing anyway, and not really giving out any what's, and just living my best life. I think that's the way to go. Just do my own thing. Too many disappointments and too many fake people. So it is what it is. I haven't been dancing for 6 weeks, apart from 3 weeks when I danced at home. And then I got busy making jewellery, so I didn't even have energy to dance. But I'm thinking maybe I'll dance on Friday, maybe. I'll probably be tired after finishing off that calf, but I'll see how I feel. If not, the following weekend. It's time to get back out there and not let any bastards grind me down, am I right? I think so too. Right, let us carry on with reading from Man, Myth and Magic, Volume 1, Abominable Snowman. The abominable snowman of the Himalayas, or Himalayas as it's actually pronounced, and I should know better because my neighbour next door corrected me numerous times. Himalayas is supposed to be a creature half human and half animal, hairy, and about the size of a child of 12 or 14, which walks erect on 2 legs, swinging its arms. Its hair is described as reddish or light brown and not very thick. Getting very hot all of a sudden. Right, where were we? Alright, reddish or light brown and not very thick hair. European travellers called the snowman abominable because of the horror with which the Sherpas, a Himalayan people, regard the creatures which they call Yeti. I just had this silly joke flicker through my mind. I was going to say, are we there, Yeti? Just sometimes I'm a bit silly, every now and then. It's because I'm exhausted. Don't mind me if I say silly things. Just laugh it off. Laugh with me or cry with me, but either way, you're on this journey with me, watching me blossom out again after another disappointment and heartache. And I'm quite proud of myself how I've hit the ground running. It's like I deserve to succeed and have happiness and accomplishment in my life too. And I've poured so much energy into people that don't really give a flying fuck about me, as I discovered. So it was a bit of an ontological shock actually, but not my first rodeo and certainly won't be my last. So I poured myself into making that beautiful cuff and completing it, which, you know, I can't even remember when I started making it actually. It was a while back, started on it. I'll have to go through my Instagram. But anyway, I've achieved a lot this week. I've almost got it to completion. Right, so enough about that. Are we there yet? And Yetis. We are there. We're completely there. We're here, there, and everywhere. Manifesting. Magically and amazingly. At the behest of the multiverse, who has my back, front and sides, unlike human beings. Naughty, naughty, very naughty. But it is what it is. Right. Expeditions have searched without success for the Yeti. Mountaineers have found what were thought to be its footprints in the snow, but research has revealed that these tracks were made by other animals. Anthropologists have shown that the Sherpa's stories are questionable, and the view that the Snowman is a legend is now widely accepted. Legends of hairy mountain men have also been reported from the Gobi Desert, Mongolia, and the North American Rocky Mountains. According to Sherpa folklore, a monkey king was converted to Buddhism and lived as a hermit in the mountains. An ogress fell in love with him, as you do, and he abandoned his solitary life to marry her, as you would, you know, because being a hermit's all very fine and dandy, but, you know, who doesn't want a good ogress when you can get her? Anyway. The children she bore him were covered in hair and had tails, and they were the first Yeti. A Tibetan holding a cap, allegedly made from the scalp of a Yeti. It has been shown that these caps are really made of deer hide. Oh, well that's disappointing, but it's good for the Yeti though that he didn't lose his scalp. Bad for the deer. See? Swings and roundabouts, people there. Swings and roundabouts. Right, the next in the alphabet to come along is abracadabra. My mother used to make these little talismans. They'd be all over my house when I was a child. I'd find them and I'd be like, what's this, Mum? Och, doch, Mensch, never mind. Put it back where you found it. And, she was a very big servant of the abracadabra mystical tradition. Which is quite comical when you think about it. The word abracadabra has been so widely used in magic that it has passed into the patter of the stage conjurer and appears in dictionaries as a term for magical nonsense words in general. Daniel Defoe in his Journal of the Plague Year, still itchy, published in 1722, says that many people who were terrified of the plague acted as if it was an evil spirit which threatened to take possession of their bodies. They tried to ward it off with certain words or figures, as particularly the word abracadabra formed in a triangle or pyramid. In the Middle Ages, the word was believed to cure fevers. The earliest instructions for using it come from a poem on medicine by Quintus Serenus Simmonicus, a doctor who accompanied the Roman Emperor Severus on his expedition to Britain in 208 AD, Anno Domini, what we call the current era, we being non-Christians understand. But anyway, let's not argue semantics. It has to be written down, dropping a letter in each line. The usual way of writing it is, this is what I used to find, often around our house, often perched on a windowsill. I think my mother was trying to keep demons at bay, but ironically, she was the demon. And you kind of have to laugh now, don't you? I mean, after 60 years of survival, everything becomes comedy eventually. Not the Holocaust and not child sexual abuse, you understand. Some things will never be fucking funny. But anyway, here we have Abracax, a demon with snakes for feet associated with abracadabra. Ah, right. So that's what she was invoking or appeasing. From Colin de Plancy's Dictionnaire Infernal in 1865. Strange little character. It's very uncomfortable walking with feet for snakes. But then he's a demon, he probably doesn't have to walk anywhere, he probably flies. Anyway, I'm just trying to imagine, anthropomorphizing the unseen and the unknowable. It's probably not really a good idea, actually. It'll give me nightmares tonight. Oh, I watched a wonderful movie based on Aboriginal law called Mugai last night on Netflix. Highly recommend it. It was a horror movie, but it was quite wonderfully done, and I very much enjoyed it. If you can enjoy that kind of thing, because it was, scary. And anyway, what was I saying? An excellent movie, I highly recommend. Was it last night? No, it was the night before I watched it. Last night I watched episode 9 of The Handmaid's Tale, the 6th season. Oh my goddess. I was so tired, I was like this. Watching it, I couldn't take it, my brain wasn't synapsing. So the end was like phenomenal, but I didn't even take in what happened. What happened? What did I just miss? I had to rewind it 3 times, and the 3rd time I got what was happening. I was like, oh my gosh, that's full on, man. I can't believe I couldn't synapse. I was that exhausted. So I'm exhausted again today, but not that bad. By the gods. So anyway, after I finished rewinding it and understanding what had just occurred in the storyline, I went to bed early, hit the hay. I was written off. This bracelet, it's a $1 million bracelet. It's full 6 days of labour, whole days, working at it. Yesterday, or 2 days really, soldering, then having the soldering go wrong, and then doing it again, and having it fall apart, do it again, fall apart, did it again, did it again, did it again, until it was done by the gods. I tell you what, I'm intrepid when I get going. I never used to be like that. I used to give up. Just go, it's too hard. Give up, crawl into bed, wait for death. Death and I are. Well, even death got bored of me craving death all the time. She kicked me up the arse and said, get busy, woman, make your life so freaking phenomenal and fabulous and accomplished that you'll never crave me or a human man ever again. She's on to something, isn't she? She is. I'm no longer a normal human woman. I'm a warrior goddess and an artist and a revolutionary. Apparently a very intrepid silversmith who's developing some interesting skills. So there's a lot to be said about being resilient, not giving up, not letting bastards grind you down, people who are envious of you and don't wish you to succeed. Should never have been in my life in the first place, but I guess I just didn't want to see the demons undercurrent, and I don't know when that changed anyway. Thought it was a lovely entity. Lesson learned, painful lesson, but well learned. A reminder, I'm not meant for human men, and human men aren't meant for me either. Especially when they can't even date me and treat me with respect or actually show genuine care and be present with me and be a man to, for and with me. What's the point? I have to be my own man all the freaking time. What do I need a human man for? I'm quite capable of paddling my own canoe, as I said yesterday. But I'm tired. It's a lot for a woman on her own, struggling constantly. It's a lot. Would it be nice to just have someone who's a genuine partner for a change? But anyway, we won't go on about that. We'll look at what this abracadabra thing meant and why my mother was obsessed with it, shall we? The paper on which the word is written must be tied around the patient's neck with flax, worn for 9 days, and then thrown backwards over the shoulder into a stream which runs eastwards. I don't think she used it for healing remedies. To be honest, I think she was cursing people with it because my mother was like that. She was that kind of a witch. Not always all that benevolent and loving, especially to her own daughters and granddaughters. Put curses on me, I found in a evil cesspit of a house. That was then, this is now. The idea is evidently that as the word shrinks away to nothing, so will the fever. Several other shrinking charms of this kind are known, including a Jewish spell against a demon named Shabriri, thought to cause diseases of the eye. To get rid of him, you say Shabriri, Briri, Riri, Iri, Ri, whittling him away to nothing. Abracadabra resembles and may be descended from a Jewish cure for fever. Aber, abra, abrak, abraka, abrakal, abrakala, abrakal, abraka, abrak, abra, ab. Sounds more Arabic or Aramaic to me, but. And the people called unto Moses, and Moses prayed to God, and the fire abated. May healing come from heaven from all kinds of fever and consumption, heat to En, son of En. Amen, amen, amen. Selah, Selah, Selah. This must also be hung round the patient's neck, and he must not look at it for the next 24 hours. It apparently builds the heat of the fever up to breaking point, and then makes it dwindle away as the fire abates. Must remember that for next time I run a fever, people of Earth. Which reminds me I need to buy some more vitamin D. I've run out, by the goddess. Well, it's kept me healthy in the last 5 years since I heard about that. Another possibility is that abracadabra is connected with Abraxas, a god who appears on magical charms, gems and rings used to ward off evil from the 2nd century AD or CE onwards. Abraxas originated with the followers of an eccentric Christian thinker named Basilides, who taught at Alexandria from about 120 to 140. One of his theories was that Jesus had not really been crucified. The followers of Basilides seem to have constructed the name Abraxas for the god who ruled each year and its 365 days. The letters of the Greek alphabet also stood for numbers, and the Greek letters of Abraxas add to 365. Below this god were 365 orders of spirits occupying 365 heavens, the lowest of which was the domain of the spirits who rule the earth. The 7 letters of Abraxas may stand for the 7 planets known in antiquity, believed in astrology to control the workings of fate. The greatest of the Homeric, meaning the writer Homer, the greatest of the Homeric heroes and the central character of the Iliad, Achilles was later worshipped as a semi-divine being, famed for his savagery in battle. He is here shown slaying Penthesilea, the queen of the Amazons, from an Attic amphora. The central character of Homer's Iliad was honoured as a semi-divine being, and his effect on Western ideas of the hero has lasted to the present day. The plot of the Iliad, one of the most blood-drenched stories ever told, turns on the pride and the ungovernable temper of Achilles, Achilleos in Greek, the most formidable of the Greek champions who laid siege to Troy. The wrath of Achilles is my theme, Homer begins, that fatal wrath which sent the gallant souls of many noblemen to Hades, leaving their bodies as carrion for the dogs and passing birds. The Iliad is usually dated to the 8th century BC. It is quite possible that Achilles was originally a real man, however legendary the exploits with which Homer and other authors credited him. Homer calls him the great runner for his skill as an athlete and the city sacker for his prowess as a fighter. In Hesiod, who wrote some years after Homer, he is lion-hearted Achilles, the destroyer of men. Where are you now, Achilles? Busy, Mamate, run out of men worthy of destroying. Left you with the piss-weak generation. Oh, dear goddess. Oh, dear goddess. Well, it's not their fault, Achilles. We've been poisoned for, approximately 60 or 70 years whenever they started spraying our crops with glyphosate and Agent Orange and leaking radiation and chemtrails. Oh, we just don't want to think about it, do we? We don't. We won't be thinking about that right now. Later still, as a result of the fame which the Iliad brought him, he was honoured in many parts of the Greek world as a hero, a being halfway between a god and a man. The human desire to worship other human beings, we call it celebrities today. Don't worship me, just don't. After all, I'm not really a celebrity, you understand. There's nothing worse than being a fake celebrity a fake empire and a dying civilization that would really grind my gears. I'm joking, people. You can worship me if you want, but it won't help you because I'm a daughter of the gods and I'm in service to the Holy One and all manifestations of holiness, and worshipping human beings is actually kind of not okay. Just saying. You can fall in love with human beings though. I think that they're delightful. Ultimately, they will have clay feet. Always and forever clay-footed ones. Including me with my bare hobbit feet on the wooden floors, laughing at everything because I'm kind of exhausted from trying so hard to succeed in whatever it is I'm putting my hand to, because I'm alive and it's a miracle and I want to create. It's also a good outlet for other energies that did not get conflagrated because of falsities. So I put all that energy into making beautiful things, and I can wear them, and when I'm out people look at me and go, look at her. They're probably jealous of my bracelet, not realising that I really had to work hard for it, including creating it from, 2 beautiful silver spoon handles. So there is that. But there's a lot to be said about wearing your own jewellery that you've created and knowing how much work and effort you put into it, and a feeling of hubris and pride and accomplishment. Don't forget that I was so seriously abused both in my childhood and my marriage that I was constantly told that I was ugly and useless and worthless. So I'm still kind of fighting against that, I suppose, even in old age, proving my worth and my abilities and my skills, and never ever letting the bastards grind me down, which is the ultimate revenge on your enemies. Knowing that they didn't get you, crush you and destroy you like they wanted to. Dumb motherfuckers. Well, where were we? Oh yes, Achilles being worshipped as halfway between a man and a god. At the village of Achilleum, near Troy, there was a temple sacred to Achilles, and a statue of the hero wearing, oddly enough, a woman's earring. At Elis, on the Greek mainland, he had a monument, and on a certain day towards sunset, the women of Elis honoured him by lamenting his death. He had a temple and a statue on Lus, the white island in the Black Sea, opposite the mouths of the Danube, where offerings were made to him and games were held in his honour. It was said that passing sailors heard his voice across the water, reciting Homer to the accompaniment of the clash of battle and the thunder of horses' hooves. It's a warrior god, always a warrior god. Reliving old memories, probably ancient triumphs. Not letting the bastards grind him down, clashing his swords and gnashing his teeth and dancing his dance. Oh, conjecture. Oops. Okay, I'll be good. I'll rein it back in properly. The wrath of Achilles. I'm going to have a bit of a chocolate because I've been a very good mama to him today. Worked hard. Very impressed with myself. Worked very, very hard. Worked hard yesterday too. Who will buy this wonderful morning? Such a sky, I swear I could fly. Who will tie it up in a ribbon and put it in a box for me? Except it's night time now, 6:11 p.m, the sun has set. Well, in the Jewish religion it is indeed morning. Our mornings begin at sunset. Oh, the irony. Well, anyway, where were we? The wrath of Achilles. Need another cup of tea. I've had two, but I didn't drink much today. I was so focused, so hyper-focused. So I had 2 cups of tea and pizza for dinner, and now I'm thirsty again. Oh, but I'll continue reading. Just gotta gather my spirit and whistle her home. She's flying around this room, can you tell? I get like that when I'm exhausted. I leave my body and go flying. Right. The story of the Iliad begins in the 10th year of the siege of Troy, when the Greek supreme commander Agamemnon seized a beautiful slave girl who had been allotted to Achilles as a prize of battle. Came between him and his woman. Insulted, Achilles refused to fight anymore, as you would, and his absence gravely weakened the Greek resistance to fierce Trojan attacks. Fair play. Agamemnon tried to make the quarrel up, offering to return the girl to Achilles with many splendid gifts. But Achilles was still nursing his fury and refused to be reconciled. Also, he couldn't be bought, bitches. I'm a bit like that too. Can't buy me, can't own me, can't control me, can't dominate me. You fucking can't ever tame me either. People have tried to their detriment. Ted's quite happy to stay on her own. It's not the worst thing that ever happened to me. The worst thing that ever happened to me was being in a relationship with a man who didn't really love me. That, my friends, is worse than death. Death and I are bosom buddies, as I told you earlier. So I know something about that. Right, where were we? Lacking Achilles. The situation of the Greeks now became so dangerous that Patroclus, the dearly loved friend of Achilles, went out to fight the Trojans. Patroclus was killed by the best of the Trojan warriors, Hector. When this news was brought to him, Achilles became berserk with grief and rage and readied himself for battle. In spite of the warning from his mother, the sea nymph Thetis, that he was doomed to die after Hector's death. Next day, bearing new arms given to him by the gods, Achilles chased his victims with the fury of a fiend, and the earth was dark with blood. His horses trampled over dead men and fallen shields as he raged on in search of glory until he found Hector and killed him in single combat, gloating over the Trojans' death agony. Achilles maltreated Hector's corpse, dragging it in the dust behind his chariot, and he intended to throw it to the dogs to gnaw. But Hector's father persuaded him to return the body to the Trojans so that it could be decently buried. The Iliad ends with the funeral rites for Hector, but it is clear that Achilles has not long to live and that he will be killed by Hector's brother Paris and the archer god Apollo. The Odyssey describes his death in battle, with the flower of the Greek and Trojan warriors falling round him in the struggle over his corpse. The sea nymphs came from the ocean to weep salt tears for him, and the 9 muses sang his dirge. High honour indeed, having a muse sing for you. Only one, but he had all 9, by the gods. His bones were mingled with those of his friend Patroclus and buried outside Troy. Something superhuman. Achilles has all the virtues of the Homeric hero. He is brave, passionate, ferocious in battle, beautiful to look at, intensely proud, fated to an early death. His failing was his uncontrollable anger. His treatment of Hector's corpse is so savage that Homer calls it shameful outrage and condemns as an evil thing his slaughter of 12 Trojan prisoners at the funeral of Patroclus. When Hector's father comes to beg for his son's body, Achilles tries to console him and mercifully gives him the corpse. But even then, he is sufficiently aware of his weakness to be afraid that he may suddenly fly into a rage and kill the old man. No comment there. Been there. Come close to it a few times. Some of them would have deserved it too, by the way. I do still to this day have regrets that I live in contemporary modern society where there is no fucking justice. Just saying. Achilles' heel. Just have to take a breath. Thought I saw one of them yesterday actually. Those that deserve death as their final fucking punishment. Thought I saw one of them walking into a little convenience store down here at not far from Metro Chicken where I get my food. I had to do a double take. I thought, is that who I think it is? Because if it is, he better not even fucking look at me. Well, if it was him, he didn't. He kept his head down, crawled into the shop, and I thought, made me think it actually might have been him, the way he slunk away like vermin. Anyway, it was weird. It was weird having that little potential encounter because I haven't had anything to do with that monster since the year 1999. Achilles' heel, where were we? Many of the best known stories about Achilles appear in later writers, including some which have parallels in folk tales all over the world. Like the story that his mother tried to make him immortal by dipping him into a fire, but her husband thought he was trying to kill the child and stopped her. The famous variant of this is that she dipped him in the Styx, the river of the underworld, which made all of him death-proof, except the heel by which she held him. It was in this heel that he received his mortal wound from an arrow fired by Paris or Apollo. His mother, Thetis, was so beautiful that both Zeus and the sea god Poseidon desired her. As you were, boys, as you were. But she was fated to bear a son who might be mightier than his father. And when the two gods heard this, their ardour cooled, and they gave her in marriage to a mortal man named Peleus. It was at the wedding of Thetis and Peleus that the apple marked for the fairest was thrown among the gods. The apple of discord which caused the Trojan War in which Achilles met his death. What did King Solomon used to say? Vanity, vanity, all is vanity. Achilles was only a boy when the Greek armies gathered for the siege of Troy. His mother hid him on the island of Skyros, where he was dressed as a girl and brought up with the king's daughters. But the crafty Odysseus came to Skyros bringing presents of cloth for dressmaking, and also a spear and a shield. Achilles revealed himself by ignoring the cloth and seizing the weapons. What name Achilles bore when hidden among the women is an old problem. One suggestion is that he was called Pyrrha, redhead, for the colour of his hair. Explains his fiery temper then, does it not? Redheads are notorious for being fiery of temperament. Comes with the, I don't have red hair anymore. I was born with red hair though. But it sort of comes with the territory, you understand. Also, the Macedonian, the Irish and the Scottish and mainly the Irish and the Scottish, maybe some Welsh. Depends where the Celts all spread out, and the Macedonians prior to that time. Anyway, where was I? At Troy, after the death of Hector, Achilles is said to have defeated, various other notable fighters, including Penthesilea, queen of the Amazons, a tribe of warrior women who had come to fight on the Trojan side. When he had killed her with a spear thrust, he was so smitten by her beauty that he made love to her dead body. Ooh. Some said that Achilles and Patroclus were homosexual lovers. There is no such suggestion in Homer, but the accusation was made against many famous figures. Most of these later stories, to a modern eye at least, tend to lessen the stature of the heroes compared with the picture of him in Homer. But there is a suitably grim tale in the Hecuba of Euripides. After the fall of Troy, the ghost of Achilles rose in the sheen of golden armour and stood high on the crest of his tomb, demanding its share of the spoil in the shape of Polyxena, the daughter of the king of Troy. The Greeks slaughtered the girl on Achilles' grave mound so that she could accompany her new master to the afterworld, and the blood welled from her neck over her golden robes. Further reading: Homer's Iliad and Odyssey, both translated by Evie Rieu, Penguin 1950-1946. I'm pretty sure I have a copy of each here. I might read them to you one day. It's quite an education for some of you that have never read classic Greek stories. M. Grant, Myths of the Greeks and Romans, New American Library, 1964. R. Graves, The Greek Myths, Brazilla, 1959. And see also M. I. Finley, The World of Odysseus, Viking Press, 1964. Right. So we've read Abominable Snowman, Abracadabra and Achilles, and now we find ourselves up to Acorn. As the fruit of the oak tree, which is sacred to so many cultures, the acorn has found a place in a good deal of magical lore. It has been a fertility symbol, along with most other seeds, nuts and fruits, though acorns always imply a special kind of long-term, high-potency fertility. It has been widely used as a good luck charm. Even today, replicas of acorns are found with other talismans on key rings or charm bracelets. In an old European form of marriage divination, an anxious young girl might take 2 acorns. She would name one of them for herself and the other for her lover, and drop them in a basin of water. If they floated together, the lovers would marry happily. Otherwise, the omen was bad. I found lots of very hard seeds dropped in I don't know whether the wind blew them there or whether the crows dropped them, but there was quite a few of them. I don't know where the seeds came from. Hard kind of bean type, not quite acorns, but hard. And I think the crows chucked them in the top of my waterfall to soften them to eat, but they were still quite hard, so I chucked them out again. Also, I don't know what they are. They might start growing and then I'll have anarchy and chaos in my front garden if they come from big massive trees. But yes, it just reminded me of that. There was another job I did today. Cleaned my filter in my fish pond, which has to be done once a week. So I've achieved a lot today. A lot. Watching the plane coming over. It looked like it was stopped mid-air and not moving, so for a brief moment I thought, is that a UFO? But it's not, it's a plane. It's got navigation lights. Right. Yes, Mama T looks for UFOs. Just because I believe in it, and one day I might see one. I have seen them in the past, but I haven't seen one for a long time. Anyway, where was I? Acorns. Bad omens. If the 2 don't float, you're not meant to be together. Oh. A traditional British belief states that acorns should be carried as a means of preserving youthfulness. Better get myself some then, shouldn't I? Where am I going to get acorns from? You need an oak tree, don't you? Ah, well. In this, I don't expect to preserve my youthfulness anyway. There's a lot to be said about ageing gracefully, disgracefully as the case might be. In the southern USA, the acorn entered into folk medicine as a cure for rheumatism. In that case, I'd better get myself an acorn quick smart because my hands are sore from working on the jewellery. The ancient Celtic druids who venerated the oak ate acorns as part of their ritual preparation for foretelling the future. In Scandinavian myth, the oak was sacred to the thunder god Thor, and so acorns would be placed in windows to appease the god and protect the house against lightning. Makes sense. Some of this latter practice has lasted into quite recent times. The roller window blinds, which were widely popular a few years ago, often had tassels on them, shaped like acorns. Oh, that's cute, isn't it? I've got wooden roller blinds. Mine aren't shaped like acorns though. Oh, I could make some. I could, but I won't. It's too much work. My hands are sore. I've got a cup to finish off. The acorn fills a central role in the religion of many Californian Indian tribes. For them, acorns were the main staple food, aside from fish, as vital to their well-being as maize was to tribes east of the mountains. So tales about acorns abound in the mythology of tribes, such as the Luiseno. Other tribes like the Hupa or Yuki, held a great annual acorn feast as the central feature of their harvest celebrations. In that ritual, acorns were ceremonially cooked and eaten, while prayers were made to the god of vegetation to protect the stored crop and to ensure future harvests. And then in brackets it says, see also oak, but I can't because I only have the first 3 volumes. I know. Anyway, the next one is acupuncture. This Chinese medical technique of jabbing the patient with needles seems to concentrate entirely on physical treatment of disease, but in fact it is based on beliefs about supernatural forces at work in the body. Acupuncture. Acupuncture is a system of healing which is centuries old in China, is still used there and taught in medical schools, and has been practiced fairly extensively in the West since the 1930s. Twitching. Needles are inserted into the skin to a depth of about 1/10 of an inch. They are left for a few minutes and then removed. To the casual observer, says Felix Mann, a leading Western authority on the subject, it could appear that what had been done was negligible, and yet, in the right kind of case, whether severe or mild, the result can be such as to give the impression that the cure was effected by magic. The impression of magic comes partly from the fact that the needles are often inserted at points which have no apparent connection with the ailment which is being treated. A needle stuck into the little toe can cure headache. For biliousness, a needle may be inserted into the patient's shoulder, and acupuncturists usually attack hay fever by treating the liver. I'll explain why I've been snuffly today. There is no doubt that acupuncture is sometimes effective, but no satisfactory scientific explanation of it has yet been produced. Philosophically, acupuncture is based on theories about forces which are believed to govern everything in the universe, including human health. Medically, it is based on the fact that points on the body's surface become tender as a result of illness. If you have a headache, for instance, you may develop tender spots at the junction of the neck and the back of the head. When these spots are pressed, the pain is relieved. The Chinese discovered about 1,000 points on the skin where stimulation relieves or cures disease. These points are divided into 12 systems. All the points belonging to any one system are connected by an invisible line called a meridian. And each meridian is linked with one of the major organs of the body, including heart, lungs, liver, kidneys, and bladder. The meridian of the liver runs from near the liver to the inside of the leg and down to the big toe. The heart meridian runs from the heart down the inside of the arm to the little finger, which is roughly the track along which you feel pain if you have a heart attack. Usually your left arm, I believe, but well, however it works, people do. Each of the points has its own name. The point on the spleen meridian called Tianxi, or Shi, Tianxi, heavenly ravine, is connected with bronchitis, rebellious cough, throat noises, peptic ulcer, and other conditions. The point Yung Men Cloud Gate on the lung meridian may be treated to relieve shortness of breath, asthma, rheumatism, and swelling of the neck, tonsillitis, or acne. Some of the points correspond to the vital spots, which are attacked in judo and karate. Ouch. The 2 points on the neck at the base of the skull, which can be treated to cure headache and nosebleed, can also be struck to produce unconsciousness. Used to see that a lot. Was it in Star Trek where you just squeeze just there and they'd immediately faint? It's a real thing, people have heard. Don't do it though, it's not nice to do that to people. Just saying. Don't try that at home. Not encouraging you into violence, you understand? Don't want to end up like Achilles, do we? Right, where were we? Some points are related to those used in yoga. Yoga's very good for you, by the way. Haven't done it for quite some years, but can be very good for you. It's a dedicated practice and you need to do it every day for long periods of time to become a true yogi master to really get the full benefit from it. Not like me who does it for a week or two and then gets bored. But it is a very good practice, is what I'm saying. To promote efficient breathing on long walks, yogis may stimulate the point in the armpit, which is on the lung meridian of acupuncture. Well, there you go, see? There you go. To breathe deeply. Every time I mention lungs, it's a sensitive issue because I had a lifetime struggling with my lungs. Right, 12 pulses. Acupuncture is concerned not only with healing but also with preventing disease. The Chinese attitude to medicine leans heavily towards keeping people in good health to begin with, rather than waiting for them to be ill and then trying to cure them, so much so that they produced a system which is the reverse of our own. Chinese patients paid the doctor as long as they stayed healthy and stopped paying him when they fell ill. It's logical, isn't it? When a disease first develops, before it takes hold and shows itself, there is a stage when the body's mechanism is slightly disturbed, but not enough for the patient to notice his symptoms. It is this type of condition which the acupuncturist tries to diagnose and halt. Diagnosis is made by taking the pulse. The pulses at the left and right wrists are each divided into 6 sections, giving 12 pulses in all corresponding to the 12 meridians. Each pulse may have any of 27 qualities on which the doctor's diagnosis depends. The sensitivity required in taking the pulse is so fine that not only is the patient's present condition accurately determined, but past illnesses described and future ones predicted. In acupuncture, needles are inserted into one or more of 1,000 points on the skin to relieve pain or cure disease. The points are divided into 12 systems, and all the points in a system are connected by a line called a meridian. Number 1. This chart shows some of the points and meridians. 2 and 3 show the needles having been inserted. A patient undergoing treatment with needles placed in the neck and shoulders. 4. This box contains needles used by a modern Western acupuncturist, and I can highly recommend it. We had a wonderful acupuncturist who actually was born in Vietnam and ironically trained in France, who could come to my husband's aid every time I had a baby. He threw his back out and was unable to get up even to pee during the night, writhing in agony, and I'd have a brand new newborn to contend with, and a giant man baby as well. But I was, what was I? Ugly and useless and worthless? Projection. Anyway, she used to come, wonderful woman, a feminist. She was a wonderful woman. She was tiny, 4'11", tiny. She came up to here and me, and I'm short. Tiny, tiny. She was in her 40s, and I don't think she'd ever had children. And she'd look at me and my newborn baby, each time, first one being Crystal, the second one being Jasmine. She would nod. You got big baby, not baby problem. Man, useless. I get him back up to work. He go to work tomorrow. He useless. Why are you with this useless man? I would just look at her and think, yes, why am I? Because I was young and stupid. I should have listened to her. She was wisely trying to tell me, get the fuck out with your babies and reclaim your life, and I didn't, stupidly stay with that man for 10.5 years. But anyway, she would come. She would put joss sticks, and she would put all the needles in his back. She'd say, Tanya, come here and see this, in her Vietnamese accent. And I'd stand in the doorway of the bedroom, and he would be moaning and groaning and writhing in agony, actually. And then she'd show me all the needles. She said, this help him, his back, he'd be good tomorrow. Tonight he'd pee. Tomorrow or the next day he'd go to work. She'd be right, within 3 days he'd be back at work. And one time she'd come and see us, and she was literally running. She'd taken the needles out, you understand. She was running up and down his back. I think he was secretly loving it. I mean, he was in pain, but there's something very erotic about a woman barefoot running up and down your back, am I right? Anyway, it was in her professional capacity as an acupuncturist. So I just stood there in the doorway thinking, every man's fantasy just came true, and that idiot's in too much pain to enjoy it. But anyway, you have to laugh. I just stood there and kind of laughed, and she's looking at me laughing too. She got the joke. She knew why it was funny. He useless man. Why you with this man, baby? He no good. He no good. You need real man know how to be good husband, good father. He useless. And I'm like, I know, but I've just had a baby to it. What am I supposed to do? Anyway, I was afraid. I was afraid that I couldn't make it on my own as a young woman because I was sickly myself. I was constantly bloody sick. And I thought, well, better the devil you know. And I had children to raise, and a paid-for home, by the way, so I kind of felt some sense of loyalty and honour too to stay there. House paid for by my father-in-law's wishes. So I was bought and paid for in more ways than one, darling. So I did the best to stay in that marriage, and in the end it became completely untenable and impossible. A matter of life and death, and ultimately I was slowly beginning to die. So I left, which was the right thing to do. Unfortunately, the viciousness that preceded that was life-threatening and dangerous too. Well, here we are. Yesterday was my wedding anniversary, my formal wedding anniversary. 41 years, 31 years of freedom, people of Earth. So I'm doing well, making jewellery and holding myself together and Staying free of assholes. It's the only way to fly. It's a pity Loan's still not in my life, because if I actually meet a man, I'd be able to go to her and say, what do you think of this one? He useless, he cheats on you, he not good, he not good. She would have set me straight from the very beginning, would have saved me years of fucking torture. But never mind. What you don't know at 17 when you fall in love for the first time and then marry that idiot at 19, you just simply don't know. You find out on your wedding day what an arsehole he really was. Oh well. Right, we continue on reading about acupuncture. Just looking, jumping around this book. Jumping around. Right, here's another picture showing more needle point inserts along the arm and how the meridian is attached to his heart. That's interesting, isn't it? His heart and going down to his bladder by the look of it. Right, Western views. Western interest in acupuncture first sprang up in France and Germany, where today acupuncturists are numbered in many hundreds, even thousands. I had a friend in the Jewish community, actually a very lovely man, him and his wife, lovely people, and he was an acupuncturist too. In Britain too, the practice has grown rapidly, so that the British Acupuncture Association now runs a training course of up to 4 years, admitting only qualified medical men. Men, they say, 1970s. Misogyny seeps off the pages, doesn't it? Well, Loan was a woman, and she was such a good acupuncturist, actually. She was recommended to my husband by his GP. Said, I'm not supposed to be trained to believe in acupuncture, but he said this woman is a miracle worker and she will assist you, whereas Western medicine won't, filling you up with anti-inflammatories and painkillers. She'll get you back to work, Mr. Aarons, and she sure as shit did. By the God, she was amazing. An amazing woman in more ways than one. She kind of saved me too, in a way, healed me. Right, we have company again. Did you hear that? Something, other paper fell off. But there's no breeze and movement of air, so we have company again. Maybe it's Loan. Is that you, Loan? She's older than me. She would have possibly passed by now. Anyway, she was a wonderful woman and she did save me in a way. Pity I was too dumb to realise that she was saying, take your babies and run and get your freedom. Anyway. The association owns Britain's only inpatient clinic, but there are many outpatient treatment clinics all over the country, including some 30 owned by the Berkeley Acupuncture Group. Just going to put those papers that fell down back where they were, just out of curiosity. Yesterday we had something go bite too when I was doing my reading. Well, I'm never lonely in this house. There's always energy around me. Whoever they are, they've been guiding me through making that wonderful cuff. They're wanting me to impress my own self and maybe impress others too. Oh, at the end of the day, it's just jewellery though. Right. Don't say that. Don't put yourself down, Tanya Aarons. Okay, Spirit, I agree with you. I'm working hard to build myself back up after that last evil, humiliating me in front of his entire gig. Rude. Ah well, karma's a bitch, babies. It'll bite back hard. Right. Modern practitioners generally follow the ancient Chinese precepts, but with one or two modern refinements. The Chinese found the meridians on the skin by a highly skilled sense of touch, but clinics today often use an electric machine developed in Germany many years ago that registers meridians on a dial. Acupuncture has not yet made much headway in the United States of America. In 1964, there was only one practitioner in New York. Today, there are only a few dozen in the whole country. And now 2025, I would suspect there'd be a fair few more. People probably become more conscious of the old ways and the old knowledge and medical knowledge, and I hope so anyway. Perhaps too many American doctors share the opinion of a writer in the World Medical Journal who described acupuncture as an ancient but arbitrary myth which has no foundation in logic or in anatomy, which happens to be patently false, by the way. I had a Korean man, I didn't have him, but I knew, let's rephrase that. I had a Korean man that was quite keen on me, actually, but we didn't have each other in the biblical sense, you understand. He would have liked to. He was very keen on me. Very kind, very sweet person, actually. His name was Joe. And he used to come to the Treasury Casino, Live Wire Bar, where I danced for 12 years. And he would come very late in the night. I'd get there at the beginning of the gigs would start at 10. And I think some of them started at 9 even, but I was getting there at 10 because of the car parking issues. And the gigs, I think, would finish by about 1 or 2 in the morning. And he would come down around about 1 or 2 from the high rollers, because he was a gambler, quite a high roller gambler. And he would come down, he would just look at me and nod, hand me a drink, Jack Daniels, which I drank, which was very kind and generous of him, especially by that time of the night. I was often getting a bit thirsty and I'd been dancing wildly for hours. And then he'd look at me sometimes and go, "You need water, you're dehydrated." Just could look at me and tell. And I'd nod, go off and get me a glass of water and a Jack Daniels. Give me the water first. And one time he just gripped my hand between the flesh here and pulled on it. He took and he was feeling my pulse, as I described here, feeling my pulse and looking at me. And so I smiled and I said, "Am I going to live?" And he went, "Yes, long time. You live very long life." I went, "Don't be stupid, I'm dying. I've been dying for decades." And he'd be like, No, you live long life." I always had very bad asthma and bronchitis. You have bad lungs. Could tell all this by my pulse. And one day he just grabbed this fleshy bit, took my hand, was looking at me seriously and just pinched it all. I don't even know what he did actually, but it hurt like hell, and I gave this really loud yelp of pain. And I looked at him and I said, "What'd you do that for?" Because it really hurt. He said, "It's for your stomach." He didn't speak very good English, so he would kind of point and gesticulate. I said, "My stomach?" He said, "Yes, you feel better tomorrow." And anyway, he was a lovely man. He did the same thing to Tisha too. Pulled on her hand, some meridian there. But to her, he said it was for some other reason. So I don't know whether he was just enjoying holding our hand and giving us a bit of a fright or what, but he always made sure I had very nice drinky poos and was very generous and kind to me indeed. And he was a very loving man, and he was powerful. He had a powerful spirit. So we would begin dancing together, you know. And bear in mind, I'd been dancing already for several hours, so I was already on my fourth or fifth wind, which is, if I get to my fourth or fifth wind, is when I go completely crazy. You know, I just turn into this wild, I can't explain it, berserker dynamite, and I often leave my body by that stage too. It gets a bit dangerous. Anyway, one night he came down and handed me the drink. He was very courtly with me, very kind, and started dancing with me. Dance a little bit, and get a little bit too close. I go, "You're getting too close, Joe. Can't dance with me like that. I don't dance like that. It's too intimate." Okay, so okay. But anyway, we would have these dance-offs where we would dance together, but close, but not touching, but just this energetic dance-off. And we were going for it. It was completely platonic, but the energy and the passion and the heat in the dance that we built up, it was like we were just flying together. Like, I can't explain it. It was kind of beautiful though. We were like two dragons, like almost breathing fire and enveloping each other, that kind of energy, like two phoenixes. Maybe he was a dragon and I was a phoenix, but it was this fiery conflagration. He'd be sweating so much. He'd be wiping his head. I'd sometimes wipe his, wouldn't have to, but sometimes I'd grab a napkin and I'd wipe the sweat off him. Because I don't like sweat on men, to be honest, and it would kind of be freaking me out, but so I'd kind of dry it and go, "Oh, thank you." So we had that kind of level of intimacy where we would look after each other in the dance. And then he'd look at me, you know, hoping that I'd go home with him. But I thought he had a partner, and this partner, who I thought was his partner, would come down and look at me funny, and I'd be like, "I'm not doing anything, we're just dancing." And then she'd nod, and then he'd nod, and we'd go off again. But and then later on he said, "I'm not married, she's not my partner." And I went, "Well, you should tell her that, because I thought she was your partner." "No," he says, "I've been single the whole time." I said, "Well, you should have made that clear, shouldn't you?" Anyway, I got very annoyed about another gameplay, emotional game that was played with me. But I'm okay with about that, because I wasn't in love with him, and we were just friends, and we were just happy to be dancing together. So I wasn't upset about that at all. One time he came down though, I went down to the car in the car park under the casino. Who was I with? I must have been with my friend Karen. And he came down with who I thought was his partner or his wife. She's giving me evils, because he genuinely liked me, you know. And he got out of the car they were in, about to drive, came over to say goodbye to me, and was just an excuse to chat to me. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this picture, you know? She's giving me evils, and I'm like, I didn't do anything. I was just ready to go home for the evening, you know. And I'm just letting her know I'm not doing anything wrong, you know. I said to Karen, "It's so embarrassing." Karen, who was worldly wise, says to me, "That man's madly in love with you." Karen's Irish Catholic. "That man's madly in love with you, Tanya. Why can't you see it?" I said, No, we're just friends. Well, because we were just friends. Nothing romantic ever happened, you know. Not really, just him shoving me drinks, dancing wildly till about 4 in the morning, till I was almost fucking catatonic and had left my body because of the hours and hours of exercise and adrenaline and 5 rings and all that wildness. I had left my body, which he could see actually sometimes. He could say, one time he said to me, "Are you okay, Tanya?" And I went, "No, you're dancing with my ghost, Joe." what? You know, Asian people are very frightened of ghosts. I said, yes, you were dancing with my ghost. What? What? I went, yes, I died an hour ago. My body is still going, but I am not here in my body. Do you understand? Yes, he said, I noticed. That's why I asked you if you were okay. I was like, no, I've died. I have died and I am no longer here. How are you going to get home, Tanya? I said, I'll whistle myself home and I will go home. When the music stops, I will, and off we go. And he looked at me, oh, you're so amazing, Tanya, you're so amazing. And I was like, no, I really am a fucking zombie. People think I joke about the zombie thing. I don't. I'm not joking. I was a zombie for 30 years, unable to get out of bed. But if I dance for too long, I become a zombie again, and I'm just not integrated in my body, and I'm everywhere and nowhere. And it can be quite amazing and magical, but depends on the company you're keeping, if you're safe with them, am I right? Anyway, he was a wonderful man. So if you're out there, Corey and Joe, and you're watching my videos, thank you for the many wonderful dances and the Jack Daniels and your kindness and sweetness towards me. And most importantly of all, thank you for always being a gentleman and treating me with deep honour and respect. And my friend in New Zealand, Lynn Robertson, told me I made a terrible mistake and I should have gone with you, in a romantic fashion, and dated you because Corey and men are wonderful partners, she tells me. Well, back in those days, I was a little bit more cynical even than now, because I've been badly damaged by someone. So, Joe, who neglected to tell me he was actually single too, missed the boat. And then COVID came. Excuse me. And I think he went back to Korea because I didn't see him ever again. And I didn't see Shani, who came from Thailand, my transgender friend from Thailand. Didn't see her ever again either. So there are a few people that just disappeared. So I choose to think that they went back to their countries of origin. I hope that they didn't pass away with COVID, just saying. But I think in his case he did mention something about he was going home, I thought just for a holiday. But when COVID came, he must have decided I'm better off to be here, speak my own language and with his own people. Anyway, wherever you are, to you, Joe. You were and no doubt still are a wonderful man. And it was the Mamati who was intransigent back in the day. And if someone hurts me, then all these wonderful men that have come into my life get punished for the fucking arseholes. And it's not actually fair because they might have been the one. You understand. Anyway, say la vie, babies. I'll try not to cry when I think about it. The energy I've invested in people that were cruel and sadistic and false. And when lovely men came, I didn't trust them, so, well, it was kind of a misalignment because he should have told me outright that he was single. And I'm not sure what that deal with that jealous woman was. I presume they must have been together in some fashion. She was really quite threatened by me. I really haven't done anything flirtatious, just danced wildly, like I always do. Anyway, the flow of chi. Fuck it, let's have another chocolate. I've worked hard today. I deserve another chocolate. I can tell I'm coming down and getting sick because I've worked so damn fucking hard that my body packs up on me. It's what it does. need to balance my meridians and pull everything back into alignment, babies, tomorrow. Acupuncture is extremely ancient, and the oldest book on the subject, the Nei, or Book of the Yellow Emperor, dates from circa 200 BC, but contains material which is much older. It has been suggested that the system developed when people noticed that a warrior slightly wounded in battle by a blow from a stone or a sharp weapon might be cured of some ailment by the wound. 'Tis true. 'Tis true. Acupuncture depends on belief that in the healthy human body there is a continuous circulation of vital energy or life force. This energy is called ki or chi, which basically means air or breath. The identification of the life force with air, based on the simple observation that you cannot live without breathing, is found all over the world. See breath. Ki circulates through the 12 meridians, starting from the lungs, which draw breath once every 24 hours. If it fails to flow properly, the organs of the body will suffer from a deficiency of energy, or, where it is blocked, from a surplus of it. Acupuncture tries to bring the flow of life force back to normal by sedating a meridian which has too much ki, or tonifying a meridian which has too little. That's not ghosts or entities, that's possums running across my roof. If a meridian is empty, deficient in ki, the previous meridian is tonified. Ki flows from the lungs, through the large intestine, the stomach, the spleen, and the heart to the liver. If the spleen is empty, the stomach meridian is tonified, and the energy then flows on from it to the spleen. A secondary result is that because the stomach is now full of energy, the flow from the large intestine meridian is dammed back, so that there is an increase of energy in the large intestine. Although taking the pulse is the main method of diagnosis in acupuncture, there are other signals which give the acupuncturist a clue to your physical condition. If you have a soft voice with a clear tone, this suggests that you have a satisfactory flow of ki. A strong, rough voice suggests that you have too much flow of ki, an excess of vital energy. A weak voice, lacking in resonance, suggests a weak and unstable flow of ki. Similarly, a pure and unblemished skin with a rosy tint points to a healthy flow of ki. A congested and reddish skin to too much ki. A thick, fatty skin, greyish in colour, to too little. Right. Interplay of yang and yin. Ki is a product of two great forces, or principles or polarities called yang and yin. These forces run through the whole universe, and everything which exists depends on the interplay between them. Life, as Felix Mann puts it, exists as the result of tension between two extremes, and their different forms of combination with each other produce the 5 basic elements of which everything is made, the elements of wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. I'm a wood snake, and I'm an Aries, so I'm a fire sign, and I'm a daughter of the earth. I like to have my bare feet on the ground, and I work with metal now, and I love water. I love the sea. Excuse me. I love the sea, and it balances out my energies. Dear Goddess. If they're thought of in terms of electricity, yang is the positive charge and yin is the negative. If in terms of sex, yang is male and yin is female. The sun, light, strength, the right side, fire, dryness, and many other qualities belong to yang. Their opposites, the moon, darkness, weakness, the left side, water and wetness, belong to yin. Well, I don't see that the feminine needs to be perceived as weak. We're referred to as the weaker sex, but have you tried punching out something the size of a watermelon out of something the size of an orange, gentlemen of earth? No? Try passing a kidney stone? We're not the weaker sex. Right. The organs and meridians of the body are classified in terms of yang and yin. The heart, lungs, spleen, kidneys and liver belong to yin. And a patient who has a weak heart will be said to be suffering from a deficiency of yin. The intestines, stomach, bladder and gallbladder belong to yang. That explains everything. No longer have a gallbladder, and my bladder's been giving me hell for decades, but I had a good night the last night though. I only had to get up to pee once. It's an excellent night, people of earth. My bladder behaved, I don't know why, because I worked so hard. I thought I was going to die yesterday. Ironic, dying makes my bladder behave. Maybe I should die more often. No, we won't tempt the gods, will we now? 60 years on this planet with all my health issues. It's quite astonishing when I think about it. Right. I'm just intrigued that that's masculine. Intestines, stomach, bladder and gallbladder. Health and a satisfactory flow of ki depend on a perfect balance between yang and yin in the body. I agree with that, by the way. I do agree with that. When the yang and yin energies in a man's body are reasonably in balance, he is healthy. If one becomes too strong or too weak, he is ill. If the yang and yin energies become separated altogether, he is dead. Oops. The acupuncturist stimulates the appropriate points on the skin with needles, either to restore the flow of the weakened energy or to restrict the flow of the stronger energy, and so bring the two energies back into balance, people of Earth. What did I say recently? Equilibrium. For a similar idea in the West, see magnetism. It is said that seasonal changes affect the flow of energy. Indeed, in my case, I'm very subject to seasonal changes. Right. The yang is more active than the yin in spring and summer. The reverse is the case in autumn and winter. The yin energy is stronger than the yang at the time of the new moon. Opposites and balance. The theory of yang and yin was systematized by a philosopher named Su Yan in the 4th century BC. That's 400 years before, Jesus man came into this planet. But the belief that all things are made of opposites is not by any means confined to China. Early Greek thinkers saw that the universe can be described in terms of opposites. Day gives way to night, summer to winter, heat to cold, youth to age. They also developed the theory that everything is made of 4 basic materials or elements, each combining 2 of the primary qualities, which are 2 pairs of opposites, hot and cold, dry and wet. The theory of the 4 elements and qualities was scarcely challenged until the 17th century. The idea that the world is made of opposites, with the consequent necessity for balancing and reconciling them harmoniously with each other, like yang and yin in the healthy body, was a basic doctrine of alchemy, also appears in astrology, and has remained one of the fundamental theories of occultism in the West. See opposites. Further reading. There are selections from the Nei or Nai Jing in IV, the Yellow Emperor's Classic of Internal Medicine, University of California Press, 1966. See also Felix Mann's excellent books published by Heinemann, London, Acupuncture, The Ancient Chinese Art of Healing, 1962, and Random House, 1963, The Meridians of Acupuncture, 1964, and The Treatment of Disease by Acupuncture, 2nd edition, 1964, and J. Lavier, Points of Chinese Acupuncture, published by Advisor. Right, far left, which was that picture I showed you earlier, I'll show it to you again, shows the points believed to control diseases of the heart and the sexual organs. Aha, I was right about the heart though, wasn't I? I just didn't realise that they were alluding to the sexual organs there, but I guess it makes sense. Right, excuse me, I'm going to have to finish soon, my throat's closing up. Right, Japanese chart drawn in the 19th century showing some of the points on the skin where acupuncturists insert needles to cure disease. I know why, it's the smell of the old book getting to me. It's got a bit of a whiff there. Try and see if we can read the writing. Not really. Probably have to blow it right up. Right, we'll finish off this page and then we'll quit for the evening, I think, people of Earth. Adam. According to the book of Genesis, the first human being created in the image of God, the belief that man is a miniature copy of God has powerfully influenced European magic. Adam's disobedience in Eden was the original sin, and the belief that Christ was the second Adam who came to free mankind from the consequences of Adam's crime has been a major doctrine of Christianity. Then we have Adonis. In Greek mythology, a handsome youth, the lover of the goddess Aphrodite. Remember, she came out of Cyprus in a clamshell. He spent part of the year with her and part underground with the goddess of the underworld, associated with fertility and vegetation. See also Aphrodite and Tammuz. Asclepius, I think it's pronounced Asclepius, but well, anyway. Roman name. I was right. A Roman name. So here it's written Asclepius. Roman name of the Greek god Asclepius. I was right the first time. By the gods. Whose province was healing. Patients came to sleep at his shrines, and were cured by healing dreams. The psychedelic dreamer, that would be me. Didn't dream this morning, I don't remember my dreams, but I've had 3 intense dreams this week. Very intense. See also healing gods. Aetherius Society, a modern group which believes itself to be in touch with spiritually advanced beings who live on Venus, Mars and Neptune. The society has charged 19 mountains all over the world with spiritual force. See also flying saucers. Interesting. And tomorrow, if I come back tomorrow or the next day, we're up to Africa, which will be interesting. Right, beautiful people, planet Earth, and tea, the psychedelic dreamer. Natanya is tired, and we're 2 hours in. And had a jolly good time with it, and hopefully I'll be able to show you my completed cuff soon, and I'll be able to start wearing it in good health, full vitality, and full chi, balancing out my yin and my yang. Got a little bit of gold on it, and sterling silver, gold representing sun and masculine energy, and silver representing the moon and feminine energy. And then it's got a Persian turquoise, which if I don't stuff it up will look lovely. I'm hoping I don't stuff it up and crack the stone, people of Earth. better not jinx myself. We'll just shake that off, shake that off, shake that off, shake that off, shake it off. But I'm so close, and sometimes that's the final stage when it goes wrong. So many things that can go wrong with silversmithing. You think you've got it perfect, and then something else goes wrong. So I'm a little bit nervous, can you tell? But I wanted to make the embellishments today because I can't set the stone till I've finished soldering all the little embellishments on, because when you solder you have a lot of heat, and the heat will crack beautiful stones, and we don't want that. We don't want that. So it's a work still in progress. If I didn't want to add the gold embellishments, I could have finished it today and just set the stone and be done with it. And I thought about it. I had a good look at it, and I thought about it. I'll just finish it, set the stone and be done with it. And I thought, no, once the stone's set, you can pull a stone out, it can be a hassle, but I don't want to do that because it runs a risk of breakage and ruining the setting. So I thought, no, I'll add the gold beforehand and it'll be all ready to go. Then I'll set the stone. It's like romancing the stone, isn't it? It's all about the stone. Anyway, I'm very contented with my hard labours and my creativity. And now I'm going to watch a little bit of TV and go to bed early again, I think. And it's only 7:30, but the way I feel, it feels like it's midnight. That's how tired I am. Anyway, I've done well. Pushed myself and pushed myself and pushed myself. And I'm content with my lot, people. So bye for now. Have a beautiful evening wherever you are. The time is 7:31 p.m. Brisbane time, and stay safe, stay happy, stay wild, stay free, stay untamed and untrammeled, and live your best life. And remember, as always, never ever let the bastards grind you down. Goddess blessings to you all, and my own silly old self too. Bye for now, people of Earth.